Um, Guatemala 2017. Um, when I first heard about this trip, I didn't know if it was for me. I didn't know if I could afford it or if it was something I even wanted to do. It was a group of people I didn't know very well, but maybe two of them. And even the professor, Sarah, I wasn't really close with her. So I was nervous all around. Um, And then I finally made the jump to do it. I thought, what the heck? Let's take this leap of faith because whenever you become like step out of that nutshell you call your comfort zone, bigger things come out of that. And I am so happy I did that. Um, it was more than what I expected. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my collegiate career. Um, you know, it wasn't, we all went in thinking, oh, we're all going to have a trip in Guatemala, we're going to film, but it was actually a lot of hard work. It wasn't just pick up your camera and, get that interview. It was hard, There were language barriers that a lot of us struggled with. And that's probably one of my favorite things about the whole trip was the language barrier because I was forced to learn Spanish. And now I'm very, like, a lot more fluent in Spanish than I have ever been in my life. And it was it was just awesome. I felt like I learned more Spanish trying to communicate and make friends and get the help I needed and just understand an interview just being there than I ever have in a classroom. And I've taken several Spanish courses, and it was just amazing. And there are words now that I have learned that will never leave my mind, and I will always know them because I had to know them in a certain instance. Like when my knee locked, and that never happens very often. And of course, what do you know? It happens when I'm in Guatemala, tent camping in a beautiful field by a mountain. It's so perfect, right? um, and I never like to show that my knee is locked when it is because I feel weak. And that's the first time I had one of my friends who I wasn't very close to yet. Fabio looked at me and he said, Emily, I'm your friend, and we are all here to be with you, and no one will ever judge you. And if they do, like, I'll take care of it. And I just felt like, wow, these people really don't know me, and I'm gonna have to open up. And like that was a huge thing for me. But anyway, we had to get ice, and Abby Anstead and I found out the word for can we have a bag of ice and not frozen ice cream. um, Other than that, shooting the whole documentary, what shots do I need to get? I realized how much of a team effort a film is. And I know you have like your producer, and like being a co-producer with Abby was one of the funnest things that me and her have done ever together. And we've co-produced a lot, and we write a lot, and we edit together. That was really fun because it was a 1,000,000% team. There was no I. There was no you do this, I do. It was we got to do this. You cover this. Like we split up, and everybody knew what they needed to do, and that was a really cool experience for me because I've never done a serious film project. More like, okay, go make a news video and stand there. And I mean, yeah, they were cool, but it was nothing like this. It was nothing like, you know, break up and then come back and what do we need to do. Another thing is that when we got back, that's when the challenge started. Coming back was really hard. Not only was it hard to leave, but it was hard because we all knew how much work we had ahead of us. And we were excited. We're all like, yeah, let's put this film together. Let's put this film together. And then we started sitting down and we're like, how do we put this film together? What do we want it to look like? And we all have these different pictures in our head. But in the end, we were able to take all of our ideas and put it together as one. And that is what I call a filming crew, because everybody's ideas are so important, and I feel like every idea adds in like a different what would I say, a different uniqueness to that film. And we were all like so cool with each other. Even when somebody didn't like something, we would talk it through. And I have had the best team this whole time. Um, we've all gotten so close. It's crazy. And we've all trusted each other a lot. I know some of people in my group who are more experienced than some others, us. um, had a hard time kind of trusting a little bit with edits, and maybe still kind of do, but it's definitely improved. And I feel like we've all learned a different lesson, like being able to trust someone to give them that first shot that they've never had with this and make something cool out of it. Or, being able to look at someone and be like, this is what I want, and not being scared to show your ideas because you're a creative storyteller. I don't know, we all just had different pieces of the puzzle to put this thing together, and I was so happy. I will say though, it is very, very, very hard when you're making a film in another language. The whole language thing has been such a push. Even though we got things transcribed, things were still kind of messed up, which not on their part. They helped us out, not complaining, but you really had to uh, fix it yourself. It's your film, it's not anyone else's. And that was really hard. You really had to go through each and every word, because you don't want it to be incorrect ever with any story. But that was also a challenge making the film. Oh, another challenge we did face was the beginning of our film, the montage. We're still kind of putting that together, but we each kind of like take turns and everything. So we each get to add our own little zap in there, and then everybody watches it, and then we go, okay, what do we like? What do we didn't like? So I would say overall, I have enjoyed this whole experience. It has been a lot of stress and a lot of um, coming out of my comfort zone in millions of ways. Not being like afraid to speak up, trusting yourself and saying you can do this, you can make a good film. All of it. I just think overall, I have grown as a person. As I've grown in my major, and I'm happy I declared this major because I know this is something I've always wanted to do. But I never thought I could do it as well as I can, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it was fun. And I will say, I'm a little addicted to it now, and I think I might study abroad more. I'm thinking about trying to go to India this summer. I don't know if I will. I got an internship, but I do know that I would like to travel the world and tell more stories, because I think Guatemala is just the beginning for me. I think it's a very small beginning for me. I want to do some big stuff. It's all about that plane ticket and the camera, and I just want to tell the world everything. But I had a lot of fun, and I'm glad I grew so much closer to these people, especially the professor. I absolutely love both the professors that went, and this is one thing I don't. This is one choice in college, and I've made many. But this is one choice in college I'll never regret ever in my life. And I'm so happy. So thanks for everything, because you've changed me.